Day 5, 10:33 a.m. here in the Big Brother UK All-Stars house. And with it being Monday, it is a new start of a week and our first nomination week. So at the end of it, on Friday, someone will be going home. And later on today, our house guests will individually nominate 2 people for eviction. And 2 or more people will end up being on the block. So most of our house guests right now are still in bed, still asleep. Gary Busey is the first one to wake up and go use the bathroom. Gary soon makes his way to the kitchen where he picks up some leftover food from the night before and continues to eat that for breakfast. Gary is a pretty interesting character in real life, and I'm really surprised that he hasn't gotten into more fights or annoyed more people while in the house so far. He has farted quite a lot, but that's pretty much all he's been doing. So I'm interested to see in who he nominates, who he's closest to, because I don't really see him interact with a lot of people. Big Brother has gone ahead and turned on the lights to wake up the house guests, but they are all still slow moving to get out, with Isabelle being the second member to actually wake up and get the day started. And I gotta say, her skin looks extra orange next to that pink nightgown. One by one, slowly the house guests begin to wake up, and honestly, if it was me, with it being nomination day, I would definitely be trying to interact with the house guests, try to build up my relationship with them, and try to avoid being nominated. But everyone is kind of doing their own thing, slowly either going to the bathroom or grabbing something to eat to get their day started. No one's mind is really too much on nomination from it seems like, but me personally, I would be on the move trying to get votes because no one wants to be the first one to go home. It does help that Aaron died because someone's already kind of left, so it doesn't really feel like the first eviction. I feel like we had an eviction last week. But still, no one wants to be the first one to officially go out the front door. Looks like Makosi and Nikki have sat together for breakfast, and everyone is able to still use the storage room and everything as the ministries are over for right now, but they will begin again tomorrow. It looks like Brian has grilled up some food outside. Those leftover fruit kebabs that Ryland made are still sitting there now rotting in the sun. Let's hope that the hot dogs don't go to waste, as before Brian even grabs one, he goes to use the toilet, as that's what most people are doing as the morning bathroom shuffle is beginning. Gary Busey is in the shower. I gotta say, out of all the house guests, he's the ones I wouldn't want to see naked, and sadly, I did see him naked on the show, so good thing we got this censor on this version. As we can see, the stalls are filthy already. They're covered in grime. This whole place is just getting dirtier and dirtier by the minute, and honestly, you would think that more people would be cleaning right now, but they aren't. And then it also looks as though Brian Bello is in bed crying, which is interesting because he actually slept through the death of Aaron, and he didn't really seem too phased at the time, but it seems as though the grief is hitting him later on. And Courtney seems to actually be doing some laundry, thankfully. At 12:56 p.m., Big Brother goes ahead and decides to bring all the house guests into the living room to start this week's nominations. Everyone's a little bit nervous, no one wants to be the first out, and nominations have new rules that Big Brother and I am going to have to break down and explain to everyone. Unfortunately for our house guests and for Big Brother, they do have to wait a little bit, as Gary Busey has locked himself in the shower. The dirty clothes that he used are now in front of the door. He's not able to get out, and he's too distracted with talking to himself to really make any effort in getting out. So I do have to end up teleporting him out of the shower and dealing with that manually. But thankfully, he does slowly enter the living room eventually, and we can officially begin. So, one by one, the house guests will go into the diary room in private, and based on their relationship statuses, they will nominate 2 house guests for eviction. Now, these nominations do cost 5 big bucks, so if a sim is unable to afford it, they cannot vote. However, everyone is able to vote today as they all can afford it, except for the people that were voted off of their ministries in the last episode. So that would be Shane, Courtney, New York, Brian Dowling, and all of the Ministry of Plenty, as none of them were able to decide and tied it. We are going to have Hellen come in first to vote, as she is big boss, and she lays 1 vote on Bear. And after that, she decides to have her second nomination for Brian Dowling. So far we have 1 vote Bear, 1 vote Brian Dowling. And I am going to keep the relationship meters still private for now, as I don't want to give everything too away. But maybe closer on throughout the series, I will start revealing where everyone's relationship lies. So next up, we're going to have Craig go ahead and vote. And he decides for his first nomination to be for Gemma Collins. And for his second nomination, after a little bit of thought, he nominates Gary Busey. So that's 1 vote Bear, 1 vote Brian Dowling, 1 vote Gemma, and 1 vote Gary Busey. Next up, it is Emma's turn to vote. Emma Willis's first nomination is for Courtney Act/Shane. Emma's second nomination is for Isabelle. So still, everyone just has 1 vote between Bear, Brian Dowling, Gemma, Gary, Isabelle, and Shane/Courtney. Next up, we're going to have Makosi come to the diary room. Based on Makosi's relationship statuses, her first nomination is for Courtney/Shane, making Courtney in the lead with 2 votes. Makosi's second nomination is for Brian Bello. So Courtney's still in the lead with 2, and then we have now a couple house guests with 1 vote. Now it is Gemma's turn to vote. Gemma's first nomination is for Craig. So now he is on the leaderboard with 1 point. And for Gemma's second nomination, she has decided to vote for Nikki Graham. With both Nikki and Craig now in the leaderboard, we have a good number of house guests up with 1 point, with Shane still in the lead. Next up is Cameron's turn to vote, and I love that everyone is still in their pajamas. All right, so Cameron has decided for his first nomination to be Brian Dowling, giving him 2 points, now tied with Courtney and Shane. Well, Courtney/Shane. God. Next, his second nomination is for Nikki as well, giving her 2 points and having her tied with Brian Dowling and Courtney/Shane. Next up, it is Bear's turn to vote. Bear's first nomination is for Tiffany New York Pollard, giving her 1 point. And Bear's second nomination is for Davina, giving her 1 point as well. All right, so next up, it is Davina's turn. Davina has chosen to nominate Courtney/Shane, giving him 3 points, making him in the lead once again. And for Davina's second nomination, she has decided to nominate Isabelle, giving her 2 points, and now having her tied with Brian Dowling and Nikki. It is now Brian Bellows' turn to vote. Brian's first nomination is for his fellow BB8 house guest, Charley, giving her 1 point. And Brian's second nomination is for Gary Busey, giving him 2 points and adding him to that top tier of nominees as well. Can Charley now come to the diary room? Charley has decided to return the favor, and for her first nomination, it is Brian Bellow. And Charley's second nomination is for Pete, giving Pete 1 point. Can Gary please come to the diary room? So Gary's first nomination is for Tiffany New York Pollard, giving her 2 points and adding her to the main leaderboard. And his second nomination is for Brian Dowling, giving him 3 and tying him with Courtney/Shane. Next up is Isabelle's turn to vote. And again, based on all the relationship statuses, Isabelle's first nomination is for Tiffany New York Pollard, giving her her 3rd point and tying her with Courtney/Shane and Brian Dowling. And Isabelle's second nomination is for Brian Dowling, making him in the lead with 4 points. All right, and with that, everyone that can nominate has nominated, and we have not just 2, but 3 house guests up for eviction this week. Those 3 being Courtney/Shane, the HBIC Tiffany New York Pollard, and in the lead with 4 points, Brian Dowling. So those 3 house guests will face eviction this week, and it is up to you, the public, to choose which one you want to leave. But first, we actually have a brand new house guest entering, and it's Victor from Big Brother 6. He will be replacing Aaron, who unfortunately passed, and since he is coming in after nominations, he is safe from this week's eviction. Victor, like many of our house guests, has been on Big Brother UK multiple times, with him appearing obviously on Big Brother 6, but also Ultimate Big Brother and Big Brother Panto.
Well, you don't know that I'm a smart son of a bitch. I play dirty, so until they find that out.
You like doing it?
Are you being rude?
I don't have a girlfriend. I would let her find out why they call me sexual chocolate.
There's a couple of fucking jungle Mommy factor.
Jungle maniac would just erupt. I'm up in my game. I ain't like these other people in it. You don't know what I'm capable of. Please, knock! Do you know what I'm going to talk you out? You shut up, make me shut up. Just turn the shower water on hot, and everything will be peachy. Next Monday comes out, I'm doing this shit all again. It's time to start separating the wheat from the chaff. I'm asking you to be a bit civilised, yeah? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
You're fucking.
I'm a hold on.
Okay.
Don't ever call me a
This is politics, this is business. Like, I have to do what I've got to do to survive. I'm an entertainer. A Roland, a lovable Roland. I'm excited that I might be leaving because I'll be going to people that love me. But I'm ecstatic that I might be staying because I'm still in the game.
ding dong. See, like, I made you laugh. Good night, God bless, take care.
Victor is 40 years old and from London. Obviously, he was a huge part of Fight Night in Big Brother 6 and has a bit of a criminal history. So let's see if he gets into any drama in the house. To really find out what the fallout of nominations and with Victor's arrival really are in the house, stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Big Brother. However, it is now up to you to choose who you want to save from eviction. So out of Courtney/Shane, Tiffany, and Brian Dowling, who do you want to save from eviction this Friday? And to do that, comment down below. Comment on Twitter where I will have a poll being posted. Comment on Reddit, on whatever social media you can find, any comment section under any video. And the more times you comment that person, the more times it counts. So each comment is a save for your favorite. And it really does matter. I need you guys to vote. And whoever receives the least amount of votes will go home on Friday. So, of course, subscribe, hit the bell, like, but most importantly, vote. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the new episode. Bye.